Well, Nintendo, you did a pretty good job. My hopes for the Switch presentation were pretty basic. I hoped that you would surprise me with something new, show off a decent amount of new projects, and announce Zelda to be a launch title. And they pulled off all three, so I walked away from this presentation with a smile on my face and an optimistic outlook for how the Switch will perform over time. There were a lot of interesting things that were revealed, so I thought I'd go over my thoughts on the entire presentation. Right now. Right now. Right now. First off, I think the price is fair at $299, and it's right around the amount that I initially expected. A few people might be like, dude, the Switch is less powerful than the Xbox One and I can buy an Xbox One S for $250 right now. But 1, the Switch is a portable machine that has its own HD screen and multiple controllers. 2, Microsoft can afford to sell the console at such a low price after selling millions of consoles at the base price. And 3, Microsoft has no exclusives. A paid online service is something that I saw coming from a mile away, and I don't think that people should be too surprised. Everyone has been criticizing Nintendo for years for not having a more in-depth online infrastructure, and on top of that, the Switch is coming off of one of Nintendo's biggest commercial failures. It just makes sense that Nintendo is going to join the likes of Sony and Microsoft and make up for any losses. And although I'm a little disappointed that Nintendo's going to have a paid service, I think that's as far as my and everyone else's judgment should be going. We have very little details on how this online service is even going to work. We don't even know how much it costs. This thing could be anywhere between $5 and $200 a year, so I think it's better for us to reserve any serious judgment for when we actually know what we're even getting excited or angry about. Whew, it's region free. Now Europeans don't have to wait an eternity to get that new Shin Megami Tensei game. Now, on today's episode of Nintendo trying to explain something that's impossible to get a real sense for without trying it firsthand. Excluding me, I already know that there were thousands of viewers sitting there with a confused look on their face as they tried to determine what the fuck this man was trying to say. What made the Wii so easy to market was that the main draw of the console was visually explainable. One look at Grandpa awkwardly swinging the controller like a club and you knew exactly what was going on. But here, they're trying to sell you a rumble effect that can't in any way be represented visually. There are no cues to tell us exactly what's going on in the palms of these players' hands. This seems like something that could either be revolutionary and a surprise to everyone, or meaningless and forgotten after a year. There really is no way of telling at this point. Next we got ARMS. And honestly, at first I wasn't too excited about this game. I mean, it's got launch title tech demo written all over it. But as I looked into it more, I started to see the potential. It looks like a really fun, simple idea that could be really enjoyable if they put enough work into it. It was nice to see that all the characters are going to have different abilities and aren't just glorified reskins. And I really like the character designs, obviously inspired by Overwatch. The game's producer is the guy who directed both Mario Kart 7 and 8, so this game could end up being pretty cool despite its simplicity. And oh my god, the names. Fantastic. Springman, Ribbon Girl, Master Mummy, 10 out of 10. Hey, it's Splatoon 2. And honestly, I don't have much to say about Splatoon 2. It's more Splatoon, and Splatoon is awesome. More awesome weapons, more awesome character designs, more awesome art direction, and more awesome music. Really looking forward to this one.
Let you shoot ink from each hand. They also have nozzles that can... Oh, I almost forgot something very important. Splatoon 2. This right here is the highlight of the entire show. Sorry Mario, sorry Zelda, this is the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I was kind of scared that Nintendo was going to be super serious during this presentation, and I honestly thought that they'd refrain from doing anything goofy like they had been doing for the entire lifespan of the Wii U. But thankfully, Nintendo still has the guts to be their own fun and playful self. Kudos to that, 10 out of 10. Next is New Donk City. Well, it looks like Nintendo's finally making another 3D Mario game in the same vein as Sunshine and Galaxy. And so far, I'm pretty damn impressed with what I'm seeing. In an industry bone dry of the 3D platforming genre, this was pretty refreshing. It looks like, as always, a shitload of time was put into the animations of this game, and into the different ways that Mario will be able to traverse these worlds. This just looks like a ton of fun, and I can't wait for it to come out. Also, look at how adorable these things are. Just look at them.
You had me at hello.
Honestly, Monolith Soft could have just shown their logo and I would have been satisfied. They've already proven that they're an extremely talented group of people who have been excelling under the financial support of Nintendo. It's cool that they went with another character designer for this one, as they've done so for every Xenoblade game now. It might be a little jarring to see an entirely different art style at first, but I'm sure it'll grow on me as time goes on. Also, it's very interesting to see how much context can vary the way we see trailers. Because of the fact that I know it's Monolith Soft, I know that this big old whale thing probably isn't just a background set piece, whereas if it was any other studio, I'd be like, oh, it's pretty, I guess. I think the sad thing about this is that Xenoblade 2 won't even be one of people's main sources of excitement coming away from this presentation, even though it probably should be, due to Monolith Soft being relatively new with Nintendo, and due to the general obscurity of every single Monolith Soft game ever made. There simply isn't a lot of people who even know about the name Monolith Soft, let alone their development capabilities. But hey, maybe the Switch will sell like hotcakes and this will be their breakout game, who knows? Shin Megami Tensei 5, people. And again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but this was another project that was probably over the heads of a lot of Nintendo fans. This is just a teaser trailer, so this game is probably a far ways off from being released. Square Enix? Is this Silicon Studios? Is this that game that Silicon Studios is teaming up with Mistwalker to make? Is that this game? Is it? Because if it is, then I'm hyped as hell. If it's not, then I don't really care right now. I need names, Square Enix. Your logo isn't enough to get me excited. There's literally no information on the development team on the main website. I know that it's definitely Akihiko Yoshida doing the character artwork, but that's all I know, guys. I need to know who else is working on the game. I need to know. And it's great and all that Bethesda is bringing over the Skyrim remaster, but we'll have to wait and see if they'll make any more commitment past that in the future.
So today I'd like to start, I've been invited to come to this event and I'd like to talk about one of the games that I worked on.
I'd like to think that the translator was just so shocked by that initial yeah that he temporarily lost the ability to coherently speak into the microphone. But besides that, a Suda51 game, that's pretty awesome. I haven't played No More Heroes, but from everything I've seen about it, it seems to be my type of game. I don't care about FIFA, but maybe some other people care about FIFA. Honestly, what more is there even to say about this game at this point? A massive team, lots of time, and 20 plus years of uninterrupted game development experience. The result is a game that people will probably be talking about 10 years down the line. This shit looks insanely good, but I'm sure you don't need me to tell you that. I had my expectations pretty low for the Nintendo Switch presentation, so I came away from this pretty happy. If you were lukewarm about the presentation, then I understand. But if you were extremely disappointed, then I feel like you had your expectations dialed up a little too high. Nintendo is coming off of one of the biggest commercial failures that they've ever had. So if you were expecting a shitload of third-party support right out of the gate, you were bound to be let down. It just wasn't gonna happen. No third party is gonna want to develop and port games to a system that's a successor to one of the worst selling consoles of all time. And because of this, the Switch isn't just going to sell like hotcakes in March and break records and be a success right off the bat. If anything, the Switch is going to have to take the 3DS route, where their sales increase slowly over time as they prove to others that their console is worth developing for. This coming year will be the test to see if people are still interested in buying Nintendo consoles. And if Nintendo can acquire a big enough fan base in the coming months, then third parties will make games for the Switch. But again, everyone is just waiting to see if people are even interested in the console before they start pouring money into it. Not even the PS4 had a good launch lineup, but it still sold anyway because people were interested in the console. It wasn't until a year later that we started to see some heavy hitters coming to the PS4. I think that Nintendo has enough right now, and if the console does perform well, it'll be next year that we start to see what the Switch is really capable of. As of now, we'll just have to wait and see.